Welcome to Bamford Rose and another forum chat. This week I've taken a snippet from Facebook. It's one of the V8, V12 European owners groups, and it's asking what are the pre-failure symptoms of a clutch on V8 Vantage. I'll cover both manual and sport shift. Manual. When the single plate clutch was new and up to about 10,000 miles, it's still got quite a light pedal, quite a fresh feeling to it. The bite point is quite well defined. 10,000 miles upwards, the pedal starts to become a bit wooden in terms of feel. The bite point is less defined, you sort of have to guess it. Very difficult to pull away smoothly. The clutch pedal starts to bite towards the top more and more, and the pedal is increasingly wooden in terms of its feel. Now it will carry on like that from anywhere between 10 and about 35,000 mile. A lot of feedback I get from dealers, they tell customers, oh, your clutch is expired or close to expiring, you need to renew, and in reality it's in that phase of feeling wooden, not much feedback, but it will last for 20,000 miles. Obviously it depends how you use it. Motorway miles more than city driving is going to wear the clutch a lot less. So the early failures that happen like at 5,000 mile are often because people have been slipping the clutch too much at pull away. So that's a friction plate related failure. And obviously the early signs to that is clutch slip. So get the car up a decent gradient hill, halfway up, get it something like fourth gear, 2000 RPM, come off the throttle and go on as quick as you can. Really give it a good prod, full throttle acceleration, and you should feel the clutch clamp immediately, and there's no slip. And slip is engine revs increasing but road speed not increasing. Then after that acceleration, or as it's accelerating if it hasn't slipped, then just prod the clutch pedal momentarily, just inducing it to slip slightly, but just prod it and off for really quick, and the engine revs should just rise and then drop, and immediately the clutch clamps and there's no slip. So that would be testing for friction plate, early signs of failure, it's slipping. The next will be the pressure plate, and this is the fingers wearing. As the fingers relax, the slave cylinder is going to have to go through more stroke to clamp the clutch, and the slave cylinder position it at point of clutch contact, where the bite point is going to increase the pedal height so it bites near the top. There's no real way to state whether a clutch is at the point of failure due to its pressure plate. It's just going to feel increasingly wooden. But what that's going to translate to is changing gear on a dragging clutch. So if first to second starts to become noticeably more clunky, notchy, maybe it doesn't want to come out of gear too easily, then that's the early signs that it's a pressure plate part of the clutch, early sign of failure. So unlike some customers that I've seen, they turn the engine off, put it in first gear with the engine off, start the car because that's the only way they can get it into first, then they crunch into second and it really does crunch the gears. Don't take it to that point, because when you come to renew the clutch, it's probably done damage to the synchros and you're always going to have a slight crunch going from first to second. Pre-failure symptoms on V8 sport shift is a bit more difficult, because on the later level software there's a bit count, which is its wear index figure, and this is looking at where the kiss point is and how the clutches behave in the stroke that the slave cylinder has to go through. And once it reaches a certain predetermined number of wear, then the system is going to disable all gears and the car is stranded. So that's one way of knowing that you're at point of failure. Not much help, because you don't really want to be stranded. The idea is to change the clutch before you have a breakdown. Something the factory could have done, they could have put a light on well before that figure to alert the driver, but without a laptop interrogating the bit count for wear, then there's no way to know this. Probably annual service. Get the garage to tell you what the wear statistics are and sort of give a rough ballpark to how many miles are left in the clutch. Obviously, Juddery clutch performance is another indicator, and if you're full throttle, changing through the gearbox on the paddles, the car shifting gear with a real noticeable thump going through the drive line, that's an early sign of the pressure plate clamp side of the clutch wearing. Other things it said on this message here, the linkage on some manuals where the gear selector cables go to the selector shaft at the back by the gearbox, obviously nothing clutch related. I think that's what this means. Sometimes that fixing can wear there on the top of the gearbox. There's an easy fix to that. Sometimes the levers, the cable can pop off the lever and the lever can't select certain gates or certain gears, but that's all gear selection related and not the clutch. I hope you found that interesting, and as we always say, if you like, subscribe, comment below and click the bell for notifications.